What's up, guys? Mikey McNuggets here, coming at you for a Cavs post-game after their first regular season game. Well, there's technically 39 seconds left, but the Cavs are down 116-108 with 40 seconds to play. And barring a miraculous comeback, they are going to drop their first game of the season after starting 15-0 last season. And if they do make a comeback, well, then we are in for the most exciting next couple minutes you've ever experienced in terms of basketball. Well, let's dive into some of the nitty-gritty that we witnessed in this opening night loss here to the New York Knicks. It was a tale of two halves for a couple different players. I'll give you the micro, then we'll get to the macro. But Evan Mobley, super aggressive in the first half, less aggressive in the second half. It looked like he got a little bit tired in the second half, which is very common for players in opening night. Their bodies aren't accustomed to all the intensity that comes with playing on the road at MSG. But Mobley missed a bunch of shots early, but he has to take every single one of those. I did not have an issue with Evan Mobley taking a single one of the shots he took, and I tweeted out after he made his first bucket, the Cavs ran a play for Ev. He scored on a little turnaround jump shot over Cat. People were mad that he missed his next 4 or 5. Guys, I've screamed from the mountaintops that for the Cavs to reach their full potential, Evan Mobley has to become more aggressive, has to become more of a scoring threat, has to become more of a focal point in the offense. And you know what he can't do? And what he can't do if he doesn't take those shots is he can't become what he needs to become. So, yeah, there may be some growing pains as Evan Mobley continues to progress in his offensive role, but it's okay. He's going to miss shots. You're not going to make them all. He still finished the game as the Cavs' second leading scorer. And as of right now, barring what happens in the last 40 seconds of the game, he's one shot under 50% from the floor. He is 8 of 17 and 4 of 7 from 3. Like, you'll take that from Evan Mobley. Yeah, he's going to miss a couple of them, and you like to see him make a couple more. But all in all, I love the aggressiveness from Evan Mobley. The Cavs are going to need to see that same level of aggressiveness throughout the season, and especially when Darius and Strus and DeAndre come back. Part of the game plan early is the Cavs turn the ball over and OJ Anunoby hits a reverse dunk to put him up 10. Part of the reason Mobley was so aggressive early was the Cavs made a concerted effort to get him the ball, to put him in advantageous positions to score. In the second half, they kind of went away from that. I think that's partially due to Donovan, who went supernova in the third quarter. 21 points compared to 22 for the Knicks as a team. It was impressive, but it wasn't enough. In the fourth quarter, Donovan went cold. The Cavs went cold. The Knicks got hot. And next thing you know, the Cavs have started the season out 0-1. We got to address the elephant in the room here, though, guys. The main talking point I think that's going to come out of this game is without Darius Garland, without Max Strus, without DeAndre Hunter, you need your stars to step up, right? You need your stars to step up, and you need your guys who you can count on to give you 15, 20 points, to give you 15, 20 points. And unfortunately for one Jared Allen, he didn't really do that. Jared Allen was caught pre-game joking about the lights are brighter than we expected comments, which he said after the Knicks beat the Cavs in the playoffs back in the first season of the Donovan Mitchell era. He was caught talking to a Cavs assistant, joking around, hey, the lights are brighter than I expected. Well, I like Jared as a person, man. He's been super nice to me. He's been super friendly to me. But with those 3 out, Jared Allen in 28 minutes took 4 field goal attempts. He went 1 of 4. He took 2 free throw attempts. He had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. He was a -4 in 28 minutes, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. That ain't going to cut it, man. And I hate the fact that we are into year 4 of this Cavaliers experiment. And we are consistently talking about where is Jared Allen when the Cavs need him most. Now, it's one game. I'm not going to overreact to anything we saw tonight. There's 82 games left in the regular season, and we can't spend all offseason saying the regular season's irrelevant. All that matters for the Cavs is what happens in the postseason. Nobody needs to pay attention until April and March and then freak out over one game. I'm not going to do that. They lost tonight. It is what it is. They have 81 more games to go. But the fact that a consistent topic of conversation with the Cavaliers is, where the heck was Jared Allen tonight, does not bode well moving forward. And I was in favor. I mean, you guys heard me say a million times that the Cavs could have found an upgrade over Jared Allen, not necessarily at the center position, but over, 2 wings for a center, or a guard and a wing for a center, a backup big and a wing, a 2-for-1 deal. I would have been in favor for it. And there weren't many deals out there that I thought made sense. But when you see what he did tonight, like, Jared Allen is one of the few all-star caliber players in the league. And I say all-star caliber because he has technically made an all-star team that can just disappear. And if I told you Jared Allen did not play tonight, think a lot of, and you weren't able to look at the box score. You have to remember, what play did Jared Allen make? Can I pinpoint one specific play that Jared Allen made? The answer would be no. And it happens too frequently for a player of Jared Allen's caliber. He's too good to go MIA. And without Hunter, without DG, without Strus, you got to feature him more. And he has to step up. He has to be more assertive. There was a couple times in the third quarter where Donovan Mitchell got a switch. Now, I understand Donovan was on fire in the third quarter. I totally understand that Donovan was on fire in the third quarter. But they got two switches in the third quarter. They had Tyler Kolek covering Jared Allen in the post. You got to get 31 the rock there. You got to. And Donovan happened to miss those two step-back jumpers. And I don't even mind the shots. It's more the premise of if you get a switch with the 6'11 guy on an undersized point guard in the post, take advantage of Jared Allen's size. Take advantage of what he does best, which is finish around the rim. And the truth of the matter is, he's not aggressive. He's not assertive. He's not calling for the rock. He's not making and putting pressure on Donovan to feed him down low. And he never does. That's not his offensive style. I get that. But with your other leading scorers out, man, you got to step up, Jared. Your team needs more from you, offensively and defensively. You have to bring more to the table than 4 points and 4 rebounds. It's simply unacceptable. And I don't know how else to say it. Like, I like Jared. Once again, could not be nicer to me, could not be kinder to me, has been very friendly in media situations, but I got to call a spade a spade. I got to keep it real with you guys. That's my job. And Jared Allen tonight was MIA. And you can't have one of your 3 best players be MIA when your he's not one of the 3 best players when everyone's healthy, but one of their 3 best players in uniform tonight can't be MIA on the road at MSG. You're not going to win many games when that happens. And when you look at the overall box score, the game has gone final. The Cavs have officially lost 111-119 the final. Jared Allen, 4 points, unacceptable. Mobley, 22 points. I want to see even more from Evan, but you can live with 22. 31 from Don. He was 12 of 25 from the floor, 2 of 9 from 3. You want to see him be a little more efficient from 3, but overall 46% from the floor. You can live with that. 48%, excuse me. Sam Merrill was 5 of 10 from 3 for 19 points. You take that from Sam. Jalen Tyson got in foul trouble. He just had 5 points. Larry Nance Jr. played well. 4 of 7, 10 points. Dean Wade, 10 points. Lonzo Ball couldn't buy a 3. He was 1 of 7. However, he did a lot of other things that were good. 3 points. So from the bench in totality, you got 30 points off the bench. You can't have 4 from Jared Allen. You can't have Tyrese Proctor in 16 minutes outscoring Jared Allen in 28 minutes. You're just not going to win basketball games without more production from your center position. And you got a pretty good, not perfect, but a pretty good Evan Mobley game. You got a dominant Donovan Mitchell quarter. He was not great in the first, second, and fourth, but he had a dominant third quarter. And Sam Merrill made 5 threes. Those components alone say if everyone else gives you at least the requisite of what you expect, you should have a good chance to win. Unfortunately, from Jared Allen, your most reliable guy, you got nothing tonight, and that's not acceptable. Excuse me. A couple other thoughts. I took some notes here. So Mobley in the first half was aggressive, right? But I noticed something, and this is something I'm going to keep an eye on moving forward. I'm not sure if it's a one-game trend. I'm not sure if this is something that was happening last year and I just wasn't attuned to it. I'm not sure if this is something that is going to continue, but something to keep an eye on Friday and on Sunday. Mobley, whenever he was driving, whenever he'd get going downhill, if the defender eventually cut him off, instead of trying to fight and finish through the defender, he was stopping, trying to pivot and shoot a little fadeaway jump shot, or go into his pivot bag and turn it into a post situation. I don't have necessarily an issue with that, but I want to see Evan try and finish through contact. And if someone's going to cut him off when he's 3 or 4 feet from the basket, instead of pivoting and turning into a passive move, be aggressive, be the aggro, and fight through and go through and try and finish through the opposing defender. It'll help you draw free throws. The free throw discrepancy in this game was pretty drastic. The Cavs shot 18 free throws. The Knicks shot 36. Literally a 2-to-1 difference in the free throw attempts. And although I think the refs missed a couple calls here and there, they were fine. They weren't terrible. The Knicks were just a more aggressive team. And when you're the more aggressive team, you're going to get more free throws. And I thought the Cavs were a lot more passive in some of their drives, and that mainly falls on Evan Mobley. When he got to those positions, it was 3 or 4 plays in a row. I'll do a little breakdown for you tomorrow on UCSS. But he would get to the left block, and instead of going and trying to finish through Cat or try and finish through 55, or even with smaller defenders on him on switches, they had Mikal Bridges in one, he would stop, try to pivot out, and he's pretty good in the pivot, by the way. Like, it's not like it's necessarily a bad decision or a bad move by Evan Mobley. But I want to see him fight through and finish through guys. Like, you put on that extra strength, right, Eb? That's what we talked about all summer. You put on some extra strength so you could be more physical and you could finish through contact. You wouldn't be thrown off your spots as easy. Well, proven in game situations. And how do you do that? You finish through contact. He did do it once, to his credit, on the end one in the first half on a little baseline out of bounds play where he got the back cut and finished with his left hand. Like, do more of that. I want to see more of that from you, Ev. Don't pivot. It looked like he was being and playing averse to contact. And if that's how he's going to play, he'll be able to score because his fadeaway jump shot at his size and where he shoots the ball from, where he releases the ball from, it's incredibly tough to guard, but it's not going to be the most efficient version of Evan Mobley. For the Cavs to maximize their potential, we need aggressive and efficient Evan Mobley. You can't be aggressive and not efficient, and you can't be not aggressive and efficient. We need you to be aggressive and efficient, and the best way to do that is get to the free throw line. How do you get to the free throw line? You shoot and you finish through contact, and you force the referees to make a call. Force them into a spot where they have to make a decision on whether or not you got fouled. If you're always playing passively and you're always fading away, turning away from contact, they're going to be less inclined to blow the whistle because they know your tendencies. Refs do scouting too, believe it or not. It is not an easy job. They are well aware of the players on the court, who can and who can't do what to look for. And if your tendencies say you're going to fade away, you're going to get less and less free throws. Something Anthony Edwards has to work on too, by the way. When Anthony Edwards drives, he's so athletic, he tries to finish around contact instead of going through contact. He's got to go through contact, but that's a whole story for a different day. Another thing I noticed, without DG, without Strus, without DeAndre Hunter, the Cavs didn't really have anybody on the court in certain lineups that could turn the corner. And if you go back to the Cavs' historic offense last season that set the new offensive rating record for the NBA, part of what made them so efficient, so effective, and so dangerous is that they had 4 or 5 guys on the court at almost every given time that when they would drive and kick, they were able to turn the corner, attack the closeout, put the defense in a mismatch situation, and then play off mismatches. Tonight, in certain lineups, you had Don on the court, and we know Don can do that. And you had Sam Merrill, Lonzo Ball, Dean Wade, and Jared Allen. Like, that was a lineup the Cavs played in the fourth quarter. Don, Merrill, Lonzo, Wade, and Allen. I like Lonzo Ball. Don't get me, I like Lonzo. He was 1 of 7 from 3 tonight. Didn't shoot the ball well, but he's not a scorer. Like, he's not a score-first kind of guy. Sam Merrill's a spot-up three-point shooter. He's a spacer. But he's not turning the corner on anybody. Dean Wade's certainly not turning the corner, and Jared Allen certainly isn't turning the corner on anybody. And even if he was able to turn the corner, because he's not a three-point threat, you don't even want him standing in the corner or on the perimeter to get a chance to attack a closeout. When that lineup's in, and you got to imagine when Strus, Hunter, DG are back, you have at least 2 of those 3 guys on the court with that second unit. Where are you getting offense from if it's not one-on-one isolations with Don or a high pick and roll with Don and Jared? Like, are you running a high pick and roll with Lonzo and just praying they don't help? Maybe. We didn't see a ton of that tonight. We did see a really nice pick and roll with Lonzo and Larry Nance that led to an alley-oop in the third quarter. But for the most part, you didn't see a ton of Lonzo initiating offense like I thought we would have. And I think that's just kind of easing Lonzo into the mix. But they didn't really have anyone that could turn the corner. And when you don't have guys who are able to turn the corner, defense could pack the paint, be in a deeper help position, and then sacrifice maybe a half step in the closeout because they're not afraid of getting blown by. So it's all kind of connected to some of the guys not being there, which is why I think the offense, frankly, looked as clunky as it did for times tonight. I mean, outside of that early stretch where Mobley made a couple shots, and outside of the stretch in the third quarter when Donovan made a bunch of shots, the Cavs really didn't get many easy buckets whatsoever. They didn't get a ton of transition looks. It felt like everything that they were working for offensively turned into isolation late in the shot clock, which is really the antithesis of what Kenny Atkinson wants to do from an offensive standpoint. And I think a big reason for that is just the personnel that was on the court. And until those guys get healthy, like, I don't really know how you fix that. You know, like, it's not like Sam Merrill overnight is going to become a blow-by candidate. Lonzo Ball, as he gets healthier and more comfortable, maybe he does. Like, he's the one guy I can see improving in that regard, but Jared Allen's not going to be a guy that magically wakes up tomorrow and can beat guys off the dribble. Dean Wade's not magically waking up. Maybe you play Tyrese Proctor more. I thought he actually looked pretty good in his limited minutes in his NBA debut. Maybe you give Craig Porter Jr. a little more leeway and a little bigger role because he is a guy in theory that could be able to attack a closeout, but he still has to prove he can make an open jump shot before teams come flying out to him on the perimeter. But I thought that was something that was noticeable tonight, that without those three key players, part of the reason the Cavs offense looked so wonky and so clunky was they just didn't have guys that could turn the corner. And when you don't have guys that can turn the corner, you're not creating those mismatches that the Cavs did such a good job taking advantage of last season. The Cavs got pounded on the glass. That was an issue. The final rebounding numbers, let me pull up the box score real quick. The Cavs finished with 32 rebounds. The Knicks had 48, so they got out-rebounded by 16. That's just not going to cut it. Not going to cut it at all. A big reason for that. Jared Allen only had 4 rebounds. We mentioned that before. Lonzo had 4 rebounds. Larry Nance had 6 rebounds. Evan led the way with 8. But as a team, they had 4 offensive rebounds. Not enough. They're going to have to attack the offensive glass better. They had 28 defensive rebounds. Not enough. They're going to have to defensive rebound as a team better. Jarrett has to just be better in general. Evan, I thought, had a rebound or 2 in these long rebound situations. Corral passed him. But long rebounds come down to the guards rebounding, by the way. You know, the rebounds that happen around the rim, that's typically on the bigs. The long corralled rebounds, which the Knicks got a couple of tonight, that falls directly on the guards. And there was a couple plays where Jalen Tyson got caught out of position. Sam Merrill got caught out of position. Don got caught out of position a few times. But those long rebounds, those are guard rebounds. It takes a team effort to end a defensive possession. You don't end the defensive possession by forcing the opponent into a bad shot. You end the defensive possession by grabbing a defensive rebound. The Cavs failed in that regard tonight, but it's one game. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to overreact to one game. They didn't play well tonight. They got beat by a team that is just as good as them on paper. You know, these are the 2 top teams in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks are missing Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart. The Cavs are missing Hunter, Strus, and DG. Both teams were not at full strength. It's one game. And we can't spend all summer saying the regular season doesn't matter. All that matters for the Cavs is what they do in the playoffs, and then freak out about a game in October. So I'm not going to get my panties in a bunch over this. I'm not going to freak out. They didn't play well tonight. They didn't shoot particularly well tonight. Jared Allen was a complete no-show. There's not a ton of positives to take away, if we're being totally honest. Kind of a meh game that in a couple of weeks we'll completely forget about. But those are kind of my big takeaways. Evan was aggressive. Stay aggressive. Don took over in the third quarter. Need to see him be more consistent in the first, the second, and the fourth. They had no one that could turn the corner. And defensively, they looked lost at times. They were picking up guys higher, but they weren't able to cut off and stop some drives. The Knicks made a ton of threes that were pretty good defensive possessions that they just ended with corner threes. Knicks are a tough team to guard. And it's one game. Once again, not going to freak out, not going to overreact. If you want someone to rip their hair out, scream, go crazy, it ain't going to happen here after one game. But I'm going to get to some of your comments here now. Before we wrap up, let's see. HC Cummings say Allen's throw was small and his game was small. Shaking my head. Can't disagree tonight. Hunter and DG cover the 8-point difference easily, but you can't win when you get out-rebounded and when 50% of Brunson points tonight were free throws. Yeah, they actually did, to be totally honest, they actually did a pretty good job staying in front of Brunson. You know, they had Merrill on him, and I was like, oh, I don't really love that matchup. And Brunson, I know he was 5 of 18 from the floor. He missed a couple shots he usually makes, but I kind of thought Merrill and Tyson did a pretty good job just staying in front of him, forcing him into shots that were half a step off the beaten path of where he wants to get. Wasn't a perfect performance by any means, but I did think they covered Jalen Brunson pretty well, but he's really good at getting to the free throw line, guys. I didn't think the rest were terrible. I thought they were, they were fine. But he does a really good job getting to the free throw line. He's going to draw fouls. And he had, 9 free throws tonight? 10? What did he finish with free throw-wise? He was 12 of 13. Yeah, I mean, he took a lot of free throws. It is what it is. Barber FN says, get Jared Allen off my basketball team. How many times can we watch Jared get killed around good teams? Also, I thought basketball was 5v5, not 5v8. I didn't think the rest were that bad, guys. Listen, you're always going to disagree with certain calls. I didn't think they were perfect. No ref crew is, but I didn't think they were terrible. I just thought the Cavs were less aggressive than the Knicks. And when you attack the rim with the kind of the passiveness that the Cavs attacked the rim with tonight, you're not going to get a ton of free throws, especially on the road, especially at the Mecca. So, yeah, I'm not going to make a giant deal over the referees after game one. They weren't perfect. They're not the reason the Cavs lost. I can think of 7 or 8 other. Oh, my God, Wembanyama just. Oh, real quick, timeout from the Cavs. Wemby is a mother-you-know-what freak. That dude looks like an absolute 2K creative character out there. And he just dropped a dunk that if anyone else did, would be the career best dunk for 99% of the players that ever played basketball in their entire life. And he just did it with ease, driving down the lane. He's just stupid. Let's see what we got real quick. A lot of people absolutely and rightfully upset with Jared Allen. Mr. King says Jared Allen's not one of our stars. He is in the core 4 posters. I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you, like he is promoted as one of the stars. He is, until something changes, he is part of the core 4 for better or worse. For better or worse, it's the same thing. For better or worse, he is a core 4 member. A lot of you guys very, very upset. Rob Cunningham says Tyrese Proctor did not score a lot, but I liked his composure. What felt like big lights. Brights were not too bright. Tyrese Proctor, by the way, played 16 minutes tonight. Craig Porter Jr. only played 7. I would have anticipated that being switched. Tyrese Proctor played 16 minutes tonight. Larry Nance Jr. played 17. I don't know if that's going to be consistent. I don't know if that's going to be a nightly thing until DG comes back, until Strus comes back. But I liked what I saw from the rookie. I told you guys on UCSS. I told you on the Ultimate Cavs show. I had a couple of people inside the Cavs organization say Proctor's been one of the standouts in camp. He hasn't missed yet. And I thought he played pretty well tonight, too, for his debut, especially considering he's a rookie, a second-round pick, making his NBA debut at MSG. R. Speller says, I told you the Cavs are not a better team without Darius Garland. I don't think anyone thinks they're better without Darius. You know what? That's a lie. People do think they're better without Darius Garland. Those people are wrong, objectively wrong, and we're not going to dive back into all that right now. But Jim Foster, thank you. Relax. It's one game. I agree. It is one game. That is not a reason to overreact yet. If we come back and we're 5 games in and it's also the same story over and over, then yes. But, I mean, it's one game. It is one game. And you have the right to be mad. Like absolutely. But it's not time to sell. It's not time to blow the thing up. They're 0-1. It is what it is. Listen, if this was the playoff game, DeAndre Hunter would have played tonight, Jay. He would have played. He's got a knee contusion. He went knee to knee with someone in the Chicago game. He's truly a day-to-day. They're going to be cautious with him. There's no need to bring him out until he's ready. So maybe misses Friday's game, maybe Sunday, but I think he's back next week at the latest. He might play Friday. He very might play Friday. Brett says, Mikey, why does it seem like to take turns trying to score quarter by quarter instead of just going? Been an issue with DG and Spider. I don't have a great answer for you on that, to be honest. Like, it's not drawn up intentionally. Sometimes when a guy kind of just gets it going, the Cavs tend to play through that guy. When they call plays, and Kenny said this, like, very rarely do they call a play and say, this plays for Donovan to shoot, or this plays for Evan to shoot. They do that out of timeouts and to start quarters, start halves, etc. But in the flow of the game, they're more calling actions, and it's about the players making the right reads, attacking closeouts, finding the mismatch. And sometimes, based on how the defense rotates, you just kind of keep finding that same mismatch, that same weak spot in the defense to attack. And oftentimes, you run the same action, they respond and defend it the same way, and the ball keeps finding the same guy. So I don't think it's as simple as, hey, you go, Evan. Now it's my turn. I go, and then it's more in the flow of the game, and I think it's a lot of dictated on how other teams are covering them. Rob says, Mike is ball dominant as Evan was tonight. Allen has to get used to that, live at the line, got to make the free throws. Absolutely. You are 100% right, Rob. Let's see. We got a couple more here before we wrap up. Lonzo's shot was cold, Gavin. He's got to be better than 1 of 7. I thought 5 of the shots were good attempts. And at the end of the day, sometimes you got to go with the process over the results. I thought 5 of the 7 threes were good threes. I didn't like 2 of them. I did not like 2 of the threes. 5 of them I thought were good shots. You just got to make them, right? Like 5 were open looks. You got to make them. Let's see. I wish there was a timestamp on some of these comments so I could see when people say exactly or I disagree with you. Whatever it is, I know exactly what you're talking about. Unfortunately, I can't see that. So I got one more super chat, then we'll wrap it up here. Barbara FN says, what does Kenny see in Tyson that I don't? Jalen got in foul trouble today. I think Tim Legler, who, by the way, the ESPN booth with Legler and Richard Jefferson, I thought was pretty awesome tonight. That was a very good booth. It'll be a good A team for the Cavs. Legler said it best. Jalen Tyson knows how to play hard. He hasn't necessarily learned how to play smart yet. And that's why he got in foul trouble. But when you look at what Jalen Tyson brings to the table, it's a big-bodied wing who can guard other perimeter players that they don't feel comfortable with Don or Darius or Sam, guys like that covering. So he's not starting when Max or DeAndre or DG are healthy. Like, he's going to be on the bench, coming off the bench in a role that's more suited for him. But right now, the options at that 3 position with all the injuries they have are slim pickings. Like, who else are you going to start there? Dean Wade? I think they like Dean Wade coming off the bench more than they like him as a starter. Tyson has a little more ball creation to him than a guy like Dean Wade, and maybe even a lot more. We'll find out in a couple of weeks as he gets to play more and more in the sophomore season. But I think that's what he sees. A hustle guy, a connector, a glue guy, does all the dirty things, doesn't necessarily need the ball to be effective, but he's got to learn how not to foul, because as good as he can be in certain situations, he's no good to the Cavs if he's sitting on the bench next to Kenny Atkinson because he has 3 fouls in the first half. So in conclusion, the Cavs are 0-1. They lost tonight 119-111. The sky is not falling. But if there's anything to take out of tonight, is that the Cavs need way more from Jared Allen. And if Jared Allen doesn't step up and doesn't start producing more, the Cavs are not going to be the NBA Finals contender that a lot of us thought. They need Jared Allen. They do. Genuinely speaking, they need Jared Allen, or they need some players to fill Jared Allen's role that aren't currently on the roster. You can put the pieces together to what I'm saying. But they are not going to be able to compete with the best teams in the West and the other top teams in the East if they get 28 minutes of non-existent production from Jared Allen. We'll talk about it tomorrow more on UCSS. We appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll see you then. For now, though, I'm Mike McNuggets. Give me a follow on Twitter at MikeLucasTV, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.